of minutes for a regular meeting of January 23rd, 2013. Can I have a motion for that? Sean.
Yep.
And all in favor? Okay, and special meetings of January 28th, January 29th. Is that canceled?
Yeah, the January 28th.
Okay, so just the January 29th meeting. Motion for that?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Animal control report.
I put that in your box, I don't know if you got it.
Right.
The animal control report, it was in the box.
Well, good thing.
Okay. All right, this is a pretty thorough report. You guys got a chance to take a look at it. There doesn't seem to be anything that is not unresolved in it. It continues to be a tremendous amount
Whoa, just in time.
of activity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 17, 18, 19, 22 calls. 22, yeah. So, so she continues to be effective at doing the job. Good. Announcing tomorrow's town meeting, public hearing and town meeting, for ordinance to sell real estate owned by the town of Haddam, known as 105 Bridge Street. It starts at 6:30 at right here at the town hall, where we'll have the purchaser, buyer, spend some time and explain a little bit about what he's all about, what he wants to do, and we'll be followed by the town meeting.
Right here.
He's right here.
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
And town meeting is set to start
Yeah,
at?
right after these.
No set time, it's after?
Yeah.
6:30.
Okay. Hi, Stephen.
Paul, you give me your cell phone number?
Yes, I do, 860. I'll give it to you later.
I'm the last guy you want to give that. Yes, I want to do.
February 6th.
Thank you. All right. Steve, do you have a report for us?
We just come by.
We just come by and say hello.
No, I don't come by if I don't have anything to say.
Okay.
Or waste anybody's time. Superintendent Theory will be presenting his budget March 5th, my birthday, 6:30 Central Office.
All right,
Can't
happy
wait.
birthday.
Thank you. The Board of Ed has sought and received a legal opinion from its attorney as to what may be done with the $80,000 account first identified at the January Finance Subcommittee meeting, found by examining the independent audit. 3 options exist with respect to the $80,000. A, return the funds to the town. B, transfer the funds to the capital account for a 12-13 year. Or C, transfer the funds for the account that handles unpaid sick leave and vacation days for retiring teachers. At last night's Finance Subcommittee meeting, the Finance Subcommittee asked for some additional information from the Finance Director and suggested that a decision be made at the full Board's second meeting in February the 19th, after such additional information is examined. The Board agreed at last night's meeting, at the recommendation of the Finance Subcommittee, to have its insurance broker, Willis, proactively shop around during the next few months for better insurance rates for the district's property and casualty policies. Paul, I know that we're trying to keep you in the loop with anything that we're doing with insurance.
Yeah, please.
We'll continue. The Board will expect a written summary from Willis by its June business meeting. The Policy Subcommittee has completed its review of the 5,000 series of policies, and they will be coming back to the full Board for consideration in March and April. And last, the Multifaceted Security Committee had its first meeting on Monday. Some productive work was completed. 2 inexpensive measures that have been recommended by law enforcement, particularly for response teams, were approved at last night's Board meeting. The Board approved the placement of signs, room numbers, in the windows and corner mirrors in all the buildings in the district. The signs will be made internally with the media equipment of the high school, and the mirrors will be purchased. The total cost is $4,000, which will come out of this year's operating budget. That's not, I believe, if I understand this correctly, that's not the only measures that we're taking. It's just the 2 immediate at the least cost that we're implementing right away. That's it.
Thank you. I talked with, I went with Howard Theory today to go over to see what we could do to work smoothly to enhance, meet the budget, work well with the selectmen if we needed to dovetail anything and to highlight any of the areas that he thought that, might be of concern. And the $80,000 thing did come up. And as I understand, that was an account that had drifted over years of revenues that were taken in, income revenues, it just kind of, at the end, just kind of found their way into that, and eventually that's how that account, got started. You also talked about some of the security measures that you mentioned, and I understand that all of the immediate measures, as you pointed out, are not going to be very, they're not going to be very costly to do, and that they've already done, some basic things that, already. Some of the things that are that he mentioned, which are really neat, that wouldn't cost a lot of money, like putting decals on the windows, so you could identify, the number of the classroom, some of the things of that nature.
I hope that this is, this is just, I'm not speaking for the board, I'm speaking personally. I hope that this is not just going to be a couple of patchwork things that are done in a knee-jerk reaction to Sandy Hook. I hope that this is an ongoing discussion with this board and the next board and the board after that, and the townspeople as well. I think this is one of the most important things that we as a town, as a board, can support in this school district. And I am firmly behind anything that we can possibly do to enhance the security going forward. So I know that these are just the initial steps, but I hope that they're not just the type of steps just to keep people kind of placated to well, they're doing something.
It doesn't sound like it.
No, I don't feel that way, and I'm speaking for myself and not speaking on behalf of the board. This is just me.
It sounds pretty comprehensive with the amount of people and the nature of the folks that he has on there. So that's really good. That's really good. Okay, one of the other things he mentioned that he might do, which is interesting, we have our resident trooper in the school area, in the central station school area. And one of the things he mentioned that he might try to do is to bring a resident trooper in, with a sub-office down into the school in Killingwood.
Yep.
And I thought that was
That's great.
a positive thing as well. So, okay, thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Happy birthday.
Happy Valentine's Day?
Do you want us to sing happy birthday to you?
No.
I'll be at the meeting the day
You
after.
can't, not us. You can sing.
And you can sing to me then.
Okay.
You want to call me tomorrow?
I will.
Yeah.
I will, definitely. Maybe call you maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
Hi, Steve.
okay, now there's thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
This is the, this is the 350th committee. I don't have anything in there.
It's just that they presented you with that DVD of the parade.
Oh, that's it. But we
That's
didn't
it.
keep
No,
up.
we don't have
Okay,
it,
yeah.
no.
All right, good. Yeah, we have, for the Board of Selectmen, we have a DVD for the 350th anniversary parade, which I'll send them.
Was there any more talk about making that a permanent parade? Remember any more talk about that? Doing it every year?
Yeah, the committee we started for Civic Pride was one of the things that they talked about, is how they might be able to gather all of the people who were, involved and possibly do something like that.
It's still talking.
Every year. Only this year, they're thinking maybe stopping at your house for donuts and coffee.
That's fine.
Okay.
Don't really count.
Okay, that's the DVD on the correspondence. And one item of interest is with the February half bulletin.
Paul, I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting old, but I have a hard time hearing
Sure.
you, so if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank
Not
you.
at all. One item of interest has to do with the half bulletin.
And you are,
Okay,
exactly. And you are getting old.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
that-
are.
Yes.
Okay. This past month, February edition, and I've talked about it a little bit on page 23, there was an article that was a report from the Economic Development Commission that indicated that the first selectmen had made a proposal to the Board of Finance for $25 million bond package. That was erroneous, and I have asked Ed to take a look at it and see if we get some correction on it. I've also asked Mike Fortuna to contact the bulletin and clarify what was said in those minutes, because it basically, what was presented was an infrastructure study, which basically broke out all of the items in town that would need, but at some point in time, that would need correction, some sooner than later. It broke out the costs, it broke out possible ways to finance it over a longer period of time. And the only thing that had to do really with the immediate potential of bonding was the sewer line that if the town accepted, if it were decided that we were going to do that, and the town accepted it, we would require at least 50% funding from outside sources like USDA or some grants from the state. And if we got that, then we would probably be looking at the bond the rest. So I think this is a good, I don't call it lesson, but a good alert to folks who are in the commissions. You know, we all tend sometimes to, you know, these are difficult meetings, sometimes we like to be casual, we like to, you know, discuss things, and I think it's important for us to be clear, especially when talking about something that is third party. So I'm going to caution the commissions that you know, based on this experience, that they perhaps might want to, you know, take a, you know, some extra care when they're discussing some items in the commissions. We want the best information out there that we possibly can get.
So to clarify, there's $25 million worth of projects that will have to be done at some point.
At some point in time, it's $24,295 worth of projects that at some point in time
Have been identified.
Yes, that have been identified.
Of those 24 million, 3,500,000 will be bonded maybe this year.
If we can get the support, if we go the route from a sewer from Middletown, which we may not, because there's other things happening in the
Right.
city, in the town now.
Right.
But if we do go that route and we do get 50% funded, it's a $7.2 million project. If we can get 50% of that, then it makes sense to go to the town to present it at a 3.7
And I was just going to
million.
correct it on one where you said $25 million worth of projects that have to be done. I think not all of those have to be done. You know, not all.
Yeah.
Some of those are discretionary or choices we can make for economic development. So they don't.
That's true.
Some are
That's true.
repairs that are
That's
things
true.
that are eventually,
Yeah.
you'd have to do some form of repair.
Yeah.
But not all of them have to be done.
If you go a different route on the sewer, that whole thing goes away.
Right.
That's correct,
And
yes.
it's part of that number.
That's correct, yeah. The key is the areas that were looked at, obviously, were roads and culverts and bridges, and the water situation in Titleville, the sewage in Hingham, the moving of the town garage, for instance, and that's pretty much it, I think.
I mean, that doesn't sound discretionary to me. That sounds like things that you're going to have to do at some point.
At some point.
Some of
At
them,
some point, yeah.
like the
I mean,
roads.
it's a
Yeah.
question of time.
But you don't know.
Yeah.
For example, like, depends on what is necessary for the road, you know, whether it needs to be rebuilt, or it
Mhm.
needs to be, or maybe you could just, don't know if it could be somehow repaired, you know, rebuilding, could be engineered, you know, that could be 10 times the cost of somebody just putting some asphalt
Yeah.
over it. So, not necessarily. The fact that some roads have to be repaired is accurate, and bridges have to be repaired. The cost of those, it could be more
Yeah.
when we get to it. And not necessarily, it could be more or less, depending on what's done to make those repairs, but
I know
eventually-
2 culverts down Churchill Road that need bad, very bad. A car,
Well, I
one
think-
of these days, a car is going to fall in one of those holes. I mean, it's not even a culvert anymore, it's a hole.
So notice.
You know, it's pretty bad. Any event.
Okay.
All right, I'll go to the Board of Finance and find more there too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we have a tax refund this evening.
Number 6.
Additions, transfers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Oh, okay, here we go. This is for the payment of our IRS. We need to make a, recommend to the Board of Finance that they make the following addition. To add $15,371.56 to line 0140415 FIT from line 80,000 contingency, and then to add 91,3844 to line 01,4416 FICA from line 80,000 contingency.
How much was the second?
9138.
9,000.
9,138.
Why those transfers?
I'm sorry?
What are those for?
This is for the payment of the IRS audit that we had, and that was discussed back in our October 17th meeting.
So before Bob asks, so the money is in that account to be transferred out? right?
Yes, from contingency up, yes. So can I get a motion for that?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now we go to our tax refunds. Okay, ma'am?
We have 2 tax refunds. The first one is for Penny Williams, and it is a motor vehicle, $8.61. The second one is Kelly Jo Slavin, motor vehicle, $170.46.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Next, there are no resignations, but we do have a couple of appointments for the Economic Development Commission. In recent review of commission members' terms, discovered that Heather Matzner's term on the Economic Development Commission is no longer active. It expires on June 30th, 2012. That is also likely the case for Dan Dashley. These mail Alice Sinelli, who CC'd on us, asking that Heather and Dan's term extensions be added to the agenda for the next board meeting. So we get the Heather Batzner and Dan Dashley's terms extended, or reappointed, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and how long will the term be?
They
They're
are
3 years.
3 years, yes.
Okay, 3
Yeah.
years. So I can make a motion to reappoint
Right.
Heather Batzner to June 2015. We're doing it from
It's from
expiring
12.
It'll go to, it'll go June 30th,
Right.
2015.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dan Dashley, June 30th, 2015.
Thank you.
And this recommendation came from
Basically, this comes, the recommendation comes from Mike.
Mike Fortuna, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, budget schedules are on target. The only thing we have left to do is the capital plan revenues and the budgets that we went over are being sent to the
Right.
departments. We still have got, I don't think we've gotten the numbers from the Valley, yeah, that's the only. Either of them, okay, that's the only one. So we're pretty well ahead of time, ahead of schedule on, on this one.
I think they were waiting for today.
Yeah, Malloy had his press conference today with regard to the budget. There's good news from, well, I don't know if it's good news. From a school perspective, the ECS is being maintained on a pretty much a flat level for most schools. And for the urban schools, it's actually going to be increased somewhat. I'm expecting the schedule of what those are any day now. But those numbers are going to have to come from someplace in order to continue and expand the ECS. Something else has got to give. So it's going to be interesting to see, what that is.
I don't understand this car tax thing. We're not getting the car tax, but when we do our grand list, we
Mhm.
have the homes and the vehicles.
Yeah.
And now, is removing the tax on the car tax the state was getting, and are we getting it?
State wasn't getting.
The state doesn't get anything. No, this
To all
is,
us?
I didn't hear it.
Getting rid of it?
I didn't hear it today. I heard there was some thought that the state would be picking up some of that tax.
Taking
Taking
away from us.
taken away from us.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I did not hear that today. I didn't hear it.
It's not official yet, they're
Yeah.
thinking about it, and they said they would try to roll it in on a slow basis to help the towns get used to it. but it's nothing settled yet.
So they're taking income away from us, basically.
Yeah.
In addition,
We knew that was coming. People were talking
Yeah.
about that for
The
years.
guy from Danbury was all upset, because he said this is worth $10 million.
Well, you got two, either the state's gonna pick it up, or the idea is to give extra money to the people who don't have to pay that tax, so they can do something else with it, like pay some other tax.
They had one
What
guy,
they did with
when the
the-
guy knows when the bottom line comes, you're gonna pay more.
Yeah,
That's what they did with the boats,
yeah.
right?
I don't remember. I
The
know
boats used to be taxed to the
by the
town,
pounds, right.
and then the state just started taking all the boat
And
taxes,
they got
goes to
it.
the state now,
Yeah.
so. state-
Well, until that's clarified, we should hear from CCM, so I'll shoot you
We'll
guys.
start
a copy
taxing
of it.
our ride-on motors, maybe,
Well, you could do that. I mean,
No.
I've seen you drive, so why not do that?
anything, a flagpole. Sheds,
Okay,
those are taxes.
next item we have is the award the Memorial, Brandon Memorial Library floor replacement bids. And we are looking at Rudolph Nesch, is that the construction company, is that it, at 52076? Is that the one that he is
Yes.
recommending? They are, one for 50 Cronenberg for 53.8, CT Carpentry for 89.8, something Salisbury, Martindale on Salisbury for 52.5, Key Essential Property Management, 80,700. Looks like Plurode Enterprise, 54.8, and Rudolph Nesch Construction, 52,076. Mike is familiar with this last one.
Mike Fortuny.
Yeah, and this is the lowest one, and so he is recommending, and the board is recommending that we approve that
And the
particular
money for
one.
that project is,
It's in the capital plan.
it's already in the
Yes.
capital.
So if I can get a motion to approve Rudolph Nesch Construction, okay, all in favor? Okay, we have the Town of Haddam prescription discount plan, which is just about ready to kick off. I've gotten the flyers in, I've gotten the posters in, the mailing list is all set for all the residents in Haddam, Higginham, and Haddam Neck. Those will be going out shortly. As soon as I get a indication as to when those mailers are gonna go out, we put it on the website. I've got a press release that will get in some of the local papers. I'll send one over to you, Ed. And this should be a pretty good deal. There are, it's in connection with CCM, as you remember we talked about, and the discounts are pretty good. And they also have some vision discounts, and some LASIK discounts, and hearing discounts, and also some veterinarians. Everyone will have a card, and the local pharmacy will participate, in addition to all of the big ones, CVS, Rite Aid, Stop and Shop, etc.
When do you
So-
think this is gonna take?
It will, well, as soon as I get an indication that they are ready to mail, I'll get the posters out, we'll get it on the website, and we'll get the information blurbs out to the press. Next week, maybe? Yeah, maybe by next week.
I gotta get new glasses.
Hold off for a week.
You wait on that.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, because there's some good discounts on the glasses. Okay. Vampire translations and everything. Okay, so that's about all we got for this evening. Now go open up for public comments.
As you're probably well aware, that WFS is queuing at the commuter lot at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if you heard about that.
Commuter lot, the
They're
one on
doing
Jail
what?
Hill, or the one above, by
They're at the commuter lot now.
exit 8? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's
exit
not WFS, the trucks
The
that are
trucks.
picking up.
8. Right. They were told last Friday not to park on the road anymore, so they decided to go into the commuter lot.
And has that information been
I gave them
submitted?
that information at the meeting, last commission meeting.
The P&Z meeting?
Mhm.
Okay.
State,
So,
that's state.
The state community law?
state commuter lot. I don't know if they feel they can get away with it because it's state property, not town property. I'm not sure. You know.
But they indicated they're gonna look into it? The P&Z?
They said they're gonna talk to Bruno, so Bruno's gonna be a rich man again this year.
What can they do? What could P&Z or Bruno do? If somebody's, if they're told not to park in our streets, When they park in the state property, that's the state needs to get involved in that. We shouldn't be paying for anybody to enforce that. That's a state issue.
Well, the stipulations are very exact, and anything that is in violation doesn't even get, we're not going to try to code enforce it. I mean, we'll bring it to their attention if it looks like my understanding is that this stuff goes directly to the courts if it's significant. I think we could, if something happens that's inadvertent, then we bring it to their attention. If something happens on our end that is unintentional, they bring it to our attention. But if anything significant happens, it goes directly to the court.
I just see this as being another waste, and I hope it doesn't get into any type of litigation.
It won't.
It's a complete waste of money, because, one, WFS cannot control any truck that's going to pick up dirt from them, and what they do prior to picking up material from WFS. They can't do anything about it, and then it's on state property. I just certainly don't want to pay to fight a battle the state should be fighting. The state doesn't want them in their commuter lot. The state can send an officer out there, tell them to get out.
I disagree with you there, because the owner of the property, WFS, should say, hey, you guys don't show up till 7:30.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know?
But if they decide to get off the highway at 7, what can WFS do about that? They can't do anything about that. If they're lining up the street, not lining up at WFS, they're lining up somewhere else because they can't go to WFS.
Right,
So what can WFS do about that?
Well, they still pollute the.
No, what can WFS do about that? If they decided to pull up on the highway, wait in the highway before they get off the exit.
Okay, how many vehicles you gonna have in the communal lot?
That's not what, that's a state's issue. The state, how can I tell a state what to do with their communal lot? If they're on our roads, that violates the agreement, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I forget what the hours are, but there is an agreement that they would only start at a certain time to avoid the bus
Right.
activity. So as long as they're adhering to that. I don't know, you gave it to P&Z though. I'll talk with the planner tomorrow and see where it is.
Yes,
So they used to come at 7 o'clock at WFS.
right. We
So
usually,
they violated the permit already.
right.
That information was given
And
to
that was the
P&Z.
information was given to, and I understand it's also, they're using bigger trucks, there was a trailer that came out of there. So somebody's gonna have to look at it carefully and not wait for the neighbors to tell you that something is going on. I mean, 7:30 is early, and somebody should be kind of monitoring that. And if they start to back up on the street, it's Turkey Hill, Beaver Meadow, I mean, it's still polluting our air. I mean,
I would recommend.
the consumer report this month has something about heavy particles coming out of diesel fuel that are giving asthma and cancer to kids. I mean, there are a lot of trucks on that road.
I would recommend that you continue to provide that information to the P&Z as you are, and all of that is, it will be.
I just don't want, like the gentleman here said, I don't want this to be a long, drawn-out thing. Well, next meeting we'll talk about it, next meeting we'll talk. Next thing you know, a year goes by and nothing's been done.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. Either you're gonna enforce your rules that you made, or just throw your hands up and walk away.
You signed the agreement with your partner in that, so you have to enforce it. You have to put your foot down and say,
There is an
7:30.
enforcement vehicle in the stipulation, okay, and the repercussions of that are directly to the courts. So, let's see what P&Z does with it, let's see what if there is a violation, if it is a violation, let's see if there is, and we're kind of feeling this out now, a little bit too, so let's see where it goes.
But they'll fill it out too, so if we find a violation, we should let them know what we're gonna do. We should nip it in the bud.
I am told.
Did you say, I'm sorry,
You go ahead.
did you say they actually went on their property and were loaded up with materials at 7 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, that would be a clear, direct.
Unfortunately, I didn't take pictures of that day, but the trucks do come in.
Yeah, if they do stuff like that, they're gonna test the waters on us to see what we're gonna do. So I think if they do violate, we send a message immediately.
Yeah, well, I am told that the owner, Doug Anderson, has been extremely cooperative, has been very vigilant with the drivers.
Mhm.
He's making from what P&Z says, he's making a reasonable attempt to do what's necessary, so. If you've got some stuff, I'll follow up with the planner tomorrow.
Yeah,
and see
I
if
did
we
talk
can-
to the drivers, because I have nothing against the truck drivers. They're just doing a job, if it was my job, I'd do the job too.
Hmm.
And they said they were not told not to show up before 7:30. Nobody told them not to show up, but somebody did come by in a black truck last Friday and told them they couldn't sit in the street anymore. So somebody from WFS went up there and told them, you can't sit here, but go into the lot, nobody can touch it. And now what, are you gonna have 50 trucks in the commuter lot every morning? Yeah, it's gotta be, you gotta draw the line sooner or later.
I mean, he has a permit, he should tell the drivers, don't show up before 7:30, make it 7:45 or 8 o'clock. But he's telling them, he doesn't tell them anything, they come in 7:15, so he's pushing his permit a little bit.
Okay, and that information has been given to people?
Yes.
Okay, we'll follow up with it.
And one more thing, the transfer station. I see there's no lightning rods on that metal roof. Should there have been lightning rods there? You are in the river valley? Did it get overlooked?
No, I don't know, to tell you the truth, I'm gonna have to look into that. We've got I thought there were
I didn't see it.
some rods on there. I know we're in the process of putting in some snow breakers
Yeah,
on the roof.
yeah. Because you don't want a bunch of people under that roof with lightning. You know?
Hmm.
That's the worst place to be, especially by the river.
Okay, thank you.
And one more thing about the transfer station. Do we really need 3 operators there?
Yes,
Why do we need 3 operators?
because of to keep continually the cleanliness of it, the safety of it, the assistance to the people who are having, may have difficulty with a little bit of a higher barrier. We look closely at what the needs are there, and the operators are working hard, and that's what I'm told from the person who's supervising.
I beg to differ with you, because every time I go down there, they just stand around swapping stories with whoever shows up.
Well, part of the job is to be receptive and helpful.
Yeah, but
and,
not stand there for 20 minutes and talk to your neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to stop sooner.
I have not heard anything, this is the first time I've heard.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Next time I go down, I'll just videotape it, and you make the call.
Well, you'll have to videotape a long videotape,
Oh, I will.
because,
Oh, yeah.
and you'll have to get some permission from Phil Goff before you go down with a videotape in there.
You're on public land.
Well, then you're gonna have to be very careful,
That's fine.
because there's a lot of security things going on. If you're down there with a camera, I'm really
During working
concerned.
hours, I don't think.
I'm
it's a
really
problem.
concerned that with the security things happening today, you might run into some problems. So get, if you, I don't have any problem with you doing it, but get some permission and let somebody know you're gonna be down there doing it. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble.
That's just going to defeat the purpose of the guy not doing nothing.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, I don't want you,
Well, I don't want you paying taxes for
but I don't
somebody.
want you to.
I don't want you paying the guy time and a half or double time, whatever he's getting, to stand there and talk to people. I don't think that's fair to me. And it's all automated now, it's all push of a button, there's no more,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'll review it with Phil a little bit, but my understanding is that they are doing a good job. I've heard nothing but good words from many, many people about the assistance, about the cleanliness, about the efficiency, about the entire operation down there.
Sure, yeah.
But do be careful with the camera, seriously, I mean,
Well, you know what, if you're there and the cop shows up, then I have no problem with it. Then arrest me, it'll be a bigger deal what it is. You know?
Just don't want you
guys make the
to,
call.
I just don't want you to get hurt again, you know, get hurt.
With physical violence.
I don't,
No.
just be careful. okay?
Well, I feel
I
if
mean,
I'm
you know,
doing it,
people today are on edge, and they see somebody walking around with looking suspicious for any reason, you can get yourself in trouble, that's all I'm saying. Okay, any other public comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yep, back to the WFS thing and saving money, for what Sean brought up. I have a way that we could recoup $39,000 from WFS. They are currently only paying $4,000 in tax on their 39-acre parcel that has been mined for at least the past 3 years. I talked to Marilyn this week. She said she can go back up to 3 years for reassessing people's property. If they were to be assessed at what, and I'll show you guys a picture too, when I crunch my numbers. The Waller property is this property. They're only paying $4,000. This is less than I paid for my 1 acre lot. If they were assessed at the proper amount, which is about $15,000 an acre, it would be $13,000 more per year for this property.
That's really, like, as I understand it, they are already looking into that. and,
Maryland didn't think I was correct with my,
I know they are, I'm told they are already
Okay.
looking into that.
okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, if she can legally go back 3 years, I have satellite images from 2009, that looks just like this. I mean, they didn't do that in this past 8 months,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, I'll follow
Yeah.
up to.
I think it's very important because it's a question of fair taxes. Because if they're not taxed fairly, somebody has to pick up their share of what they do.
Absolutely.
You know,
And we spent a lot of money on the lawsuits.
Yes, we
We
have.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. And also we have some, from a tax standpoint, we've got a lot of properties that got lowered assessments
Right.
throughout that whole area.
Yeah.
And it would be nice someday to see WFS out of there and another tax income development up there and get the regular people up to their assessments where they should be.
When do you think you'll know, when do you think Marilyn will know?
I don't know, I'll check with her,
Okay.
tomorrow.
Because she said she was out there in September, October for, doing all the grand lists and everything, and she didn't think there was any problem.
Can you
but-
make a note for me to check with her tomorrow? Oh, she's out of the office, is Tammy here? Yeah, I'll check with Tammy tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other public comments? Okay, great. Have a motion to adjourn? Yes. All in favor? Thanks for coming on the cool.